Lovely. What is your first football memory?
My first football memory is sort of playing in my local park, which is my village. My village on sort of cup final day, when you used to watch it on sort of on BBC on grandstand, and you watched the cup final, and then you played football before it, and then whoever won, you pretended to be that team. That was my first sort of football in my memory, really, and from being kids, because as kids that's what we did. Yeah.
Lovely. What was your first team you ever supported?
My first team I ever supported really were Liverpool, because I was a goalkeeper as like a 7, 8, 9-year-old, and I used to love and I used to love Ray Clements at the time, who was playing for Liverpool, and I'm now a Tottenham fan, because at the time in the 80s, early 80s, Ray Clements moved to Tottenham, so I kind of followed him, but I soon discovered I wasn't going to be tall enough to be a goalkeeper, though I'm taller than Kev Daden now.
Lovely. What was the first team you ever played for?
It was Turbot Boys Club, apart from my school obviously, but it was Turbot Boys Club, and I played for those all throughout my youth career until I signed for Cardiff City. So no, it was a real good boys clubs in the valleys where I grew up were so key to the development of young footballers and young people, really, because we went there, we learned to play darts, pool, snooker, table tennis. It was football indoors. We taught respect, a bit of discipline, and the teams we had, and it was under 10s right through to under 16s, and then they even developed that to under 18s. So it was a brilliant time, and a time I'll never forget.
Lovely. And your favourite player as a boy?
I had two, really. It was Clive Allen and Chris Waddle were my two, and they were my two for the Tottenham players, and I used to love them both, really. And I got to play with Clive when I was at Luton, actually. I got to play with Clive, and I also got to play against Chris Waddle when he was manager of Burnley. He was player manager, and my debut for Southend was his debut for Burnley, so good times.
Lovely. What was the first position you ever played in?
Goals. I was a goalkeeper first of all, but I discovered that when I was better out, and that's not to say I was very good out, but it was to say that I wasn't a very good goalkeeper. Then I was a left wing and left back, really, so that's how I was. I was left footed, obviously, and I played left back and left wing.
Lovely. What was the best subject at school?
Well, being a Christian, I already knew the Bible back to front, so I was very good at RE. But I was really good at languages, which, as I discovered later on when I went to sort of comprehensive school, which is secondary school they call it now, and so on. So obviously PE, everyone says, because that's the thing I was best at. But I was very proficient at RE, and I used to love languages. So any one of those three, really.
Oh, lovely. And what did you want to be when you grew up?
Always wanted to be a footballer. That was always a dream. I never wanted to be anything else, and
stuck with it.
Yeah, and really
have a dream and stick to it.
And I try, and obviously people will tell you need to have something to fall back on. And my mum did, if I didn't pass 5 GCSEs, then I couldn't have gone to play football when I was 16. So I managed to get those, and so, yeah. But if I wasn't a footballer, I would have liked to have been a PE teacher. I always wanted to go to Loughborough University to learn to study PE, and I would have wanted to be a PE teacher.
Just sports all the way through.
Sports, yeah.
What was the first replica shirt you ever owned?
It was a Liverpool Hitachi with a Hitachi across the front. I always remember it. In terms of they had a little stripes bit on it, but Hitachi was the sponsor. And that one, and then I had a Spurs shirt, which is still at my mum's attic, actually, and
I was going to ask you.
It's archaic, with no sponsors on it or anything, just a cockerel right there, and that's something I kept, really. But Liverpool was the first one.
Lovely. What was the first CD you ever bought, or cassette?
CD?
Whatever it was.
It was actually vinyl.
Yeah, I didn't want to assume.
No, I always remember I bought 7-inch vinyl of Wings' Muller Kintyre. Which Paul McCartney and Wings was Muller Kintyre, and it was on a 7-inch vinyl. But my sister broke it after an argument. We argued, and she snapped it, which I didn't let her live down for a while. But the CDs that I first bought, they were the Now when they came out, because me and my mum and dad we had a CD, one of the first in the village to have a CD player. We were very fortunate. My dad and I bought Eric Clapton and things, but I used to buy the Now 1 and Now 2 sort of CDs.
Lovely. And what make were the first pair of boots you ever owned?
They were Puma Dalglish Silver. Excuse me. Yeah, they were Puma Dalglish Silver, which I thought were absolutely brilliant. I remember having Patrick Keegan, because they were after Kevin Keegan and stuff, but my first ones were the Puma Dalglish Silver. They were brilliant. They were a bit like Puma Kings are now, but they had a silver stripe and named after, obviously, Kenny Dalglish.
Lovely. And when was the first time you ever met one of your heroes?
Sounds cheesy to say, but my dad was my hero growing up, so I used to meet him every day. But it was probably when I signed here, and I met Clive Allen for the first time. I wouldn't say starstruck, but I told him how much I loved him. I think the 3 months that I played with him and things. But yeah, that was probably it. And then the next time was when I met obviously. Chris Waddle. I was lucky enough to train with the Welsh full team when I was 17, because they were short and they had asked a couple of apprentices, so people like Ian Rush and Dean Saunders and Ryan Giggs were there. But those were my two heroes, so those were the two that I really wanted to meet, and so it was that was the time really.
Lovely. And bearing in mind that it's Mother's Day, question I really like, who is one of the biggest mummies for you in the changing rooms?
I would probably have to say Harry Connick. I think I would have to say that. Not that I know 100%, but I think that both the Lee boys are very mollycoddled. I think they obviously live close to the home patch and so on. And I know obviously their dad's a big influence. So I think they will be ones that will be round for Sunday lunch on a regular basis. But I really do think Harry Connick is squeaky clean, good looking, doesn't get in any bother, and I think he'd be, well, I think he would have, well, Emma's got a soft spot for their mum, but I think he would be closer than most.
Great.
Cheers.
Thank you.